right. Let's see if we can get some illustrations. Okay. Uh-oh. What did I do? I don't know what happened. Oh, here we go. Okay. Radio, good rising and great awakenings. I hope you all are having a wonderful wolf full moon in the sacred hoop today. The full moon was at 4:26 p.m. Central Time yesterday, and I do these sound healing offerings. And somebody on YouTube asked me if I was going to do an offering for the full moon. I was like, no, I don't really follow the moon anymore. I'm a galactic girl. I just follow the galaxy. And she said, oh, thank you. And then later on, I started thinking about it. I was like, wait a minute. The full moon is in sidereal Gemini. That means it's in the sacred hoop. And this is the last night it will be in Gemini, because today it moves into Cancer, sidereal Cancer. So I think it was at 2 a.m. I got online and did a wolf full moon offering. And I think it went really well. I enjoyed it very much. What I learned is that when I'm doing these online offerings, sometimes I'm so focused on, what I'm doing. I want to make sure I'm doing things the right way, that I'm not really, I could connect more. And I know my spiritual preceptors tried to tell me this in 2000, and was it 18 or 2020, and I didn't really understand. So I have a better idea now. I don't really know what to do about it, but I think I know what they mean now. So I will be working on that in the future. So what is the sacred hoop? The sacred hoop is a collection of constellations that was brought to my awareness from the Lakota star tradition, star knowledge. Oh, that's which camera? Yeah. And you can see it on the cover. You can see on the cover. We talk about it quite a bit. It consists of Gemini, Sirius, and Orion. And it also has the Pleiades. I know I was missing something, because it has Gemini and then Sirius and then Orion, and then it also has the Pleiades. So I need to add that to my database. Yeah. So I had decided, since when I follow the moon, I would get all like stressed out and trying to keep up with it, because it changes every 3 days, and then it also goes void, of course. I decided to just pay attention to when the moon or planets, heavenly bodies, are inside the sacred hoop, or when inside they're in Ophiuchus. And those represent the two, do I have that chart? Two opposite ends of the Milky Way. One end, the sacred hoop, is when you're looking away from the center of the Milky Way. And when you're looking at Ophiuchus, the 13th constellation along the ecliptic, you're looking into the heart of the Milky Way. So that's why I jumped on at 2 a.m., because I was about to miss my opportunity. I've been waiting, following it, in the sky. And then when I looked at the chart at around 10 or 11, I noticed that it was about to move out of Gemini. It's been so cloudy, I had missed it. And so that is why I did that. And then I laid down. I was going to lay down for an hour and a half, but I slept for 3.5 hours. So that's why I was a little late today. However, I was so, pleased that I was able to get it in. And I also was able to offer the song that I wrote for when the full moon is in the sacred hoop, a star stand up for us. So that was really moving for me. All that to say, welcome to TaMeriKan Tuesday, where we talk about things of interest to TaMerikans. Whereas TaMeriKan, TaMeriKa is a term for Aboriginal, North, Central, and South America. Some people want to jump in on the conversation. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know you guys, so let's get to know each other, and I'll see about bringing you in. Let's see. Oh, hello, Lapis Lazuli. Good rising and great awakening. So good to see you here today. Today is TaMeriKan Tuesday, like you called me TaMeriKan when we first met. And so we talk about things of interest to people of TaMeriKan, the indigenous people of TaMeriKan, Aboriginal people of America, TaMeriKan. This term, Aboriginal American, replaces our reclassification as American Indian, colored, Negro, Black, African American, or Afro American, because those terms do not refer to a place anywhere in the world. So we have no, political or legal power, we have no jurisdiction. We are just a subcategory of the only subcategory of humans on the planet that has no any type of standing. We're just termed based on our skin color or where they say we came from. There's so much evidence from people whose ancestors did not leave their homelands. They did not go onto the reservations. They were not captured and enslaved. And so those people have what you youngsters call receipts. And they're causing the majority of us to ditch the DNA reports, trust our ancestors, and get our land. What do they call it? Land claims. I don't know. They have a term. I haven't gone that far into it because I'm dealing with the land I inherited that's been in my bloodline I'm the third generation of ownership, the fourth generation to live here, and the fifth generation of my bloodline to actually be in this space. So I'm working really hard to maintain this piece of my Aboriginal heritage. So, what if you saw my video the other day, I guess it was yesterday. I don't know if I added it to YouTube yet. Is about the schedule for the rest of the month of January. So next week is the 21 to 25 is the alignment of 6 planets that you can see all in one night. And so I'm going to have a couple of transmissions or offerings from here at the temple space. And then for the raising of the tree, February 1st, one of the 8 points on the sacred hoop. Where's my diagram? Yeah, I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna get it right now. Getting back here. Okay. Let's see, we'll take it off this for a minute. And if you're new to my channel, these are pinhole glasses. I've been wearing for 20 years now, and they force your eyes to focus instead of magnify what you're looking at. So if you ever see me wearing them, it's because that's what they are, pinhole glasses. I'll hang it up behind you in a second. But here is my hand-drawn image of the sacred hoop, spiral dance medicine wheel, not sacred hoop, spiral dance medicine wheel. And Aboriginal and indigenous cultures follow the natural holy days of the solstices and the equinoxes. And we're going to be talking about the mounds soon. One of the amazing features of these ancient mounds is that they're always aligned with the solstices and equinoxes. Some of them are aligned with the moon, true, but the majority of them are aligned with the equinoxes and the solstices. And so this is a medicine wheel. It's also a spiral dance medicine wheel. It's a spiral dance medicine wheel because it includes the seasons and mid-seasons. A medicine wheel usually only has the seasons, directions, 4 seasons, 4 directions, 4 aspects of being, the indigenous people, the 4 directions, and the 4 elements. So this on this one, it's my hand-drawn chart, so it's not exactly circular. So let's start with where we're about to go. The middle of winter. This area here between the white and the yellow. It's the middle of winter, and let's go back around. So we just came from here, the winter solstice, and then over here we have the middle of fall. And they say that during this time, from the middle of fall to the middle of winter, the veil between the 2 realms opens, and it's the most powerful time to connect with your ancestors. So we had the middle of fall ceremony. I didn't do the winter solstice because that's my daughter and I have a special ceremony we do for the winter solstice. But we're going to go to Cahokia Mound for the raising of the tree, the middle of winter. Also on the chart is we have the fall, and the middle of fall is Dia de los Muertos. And here we have the middle of summer. Before we hit the fall equinox, down at the bottom is the summer season. The middle of summer is Sirius rising, the dog days. And of course we have the fall, the fall equinox there. And then on this side we have middle of summer. I'm getting a little backwards. Yeah. No. Oh, this is the middle of spring. Down here, what people call Beltane or May Day. And then the spring equinox is in March, of course. And then where we are right now, as I started with, is the middle of winter. Now, I really focus on the mid-seasons because they're not talked about so much. Let me see if I can hang this up. But at the seasons and the mid-seasons, I do an offering for the spiral dance medicine wheel. The spiral dance medicine wheel, which is according to the Hopi prophecy. And these times, and we're going to talk about the Hopi prophecy a lot in the future. But in these times, it is prophesied that the indigenous people of the 4 direction will rise up and come together. We put the teachings together, we'll have a truth. So notice there. Their prophecy is not about a particular tribe or nation taking over or anything like that. They're just talking about the wisdom teachings, which is my focus as well, the teachings, not so much, you can't see it, the politics. Oh man, I put it right behind me so you can't see it. Okay. Well, let's fix that. I want you to be able to see it. Okay, let's try to get this right. I want it on this side of the chair. No. Here, so everybody is. Okay. Let's try it right here. This hole is filled with holes when you're tacking things up. So, what is the raising of the tree? Well, I learned about the raising of the tree from the Olmec Mayan culture. We've been reading from Mayan cosmos. Linda Sheely was one of my first teachers when I was a grad student at UT Austin. And hold on. Okay. And so the raising of the tree is a Mayan ceremony at the middle of winter. I guess it's the middle of, what is it for them? It's the middle of summer for them. When, oh my God, no, I'm still in the way. How can I still be in the way? Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. All right, I'm not gonna worry about it. Um, so in the Mayan tradition, the Milky Way is represented by the tree of life. And so the raising of the tree is when the Milky Way is aligned perfectly straight like a tree, and it makes a cross with the ecliptic, the foliated cross of the Olmec tradition, Mayan Olmec tradition. So usually at the raising of the tree, I don't really refer to it as raising a tree. I just do the spiral dance medicine wheel offering, which is chants, music, um, sound healing, um, that represents the indigenous people of the four directions waking up and putting their teachings together so we know the truth according to the Hopi prophets. So I usually do that. But this year I've decided to go to Cahokia Mound and make offerings there for the raising of the tree. So I'm studying how the Maya still carry out this observance. I cannot believe it's still out of view. Can you believe that? I believe it. I'm still blocking it. I'm going to move over. That's what I'm doing. Just move everything over so it can be seen. No. I went the wrong way. Let's go this way. There, that's better. Move this way. Yeah, okay. So today I wanted to share some of the things that I've been learning about the mounds, especially Cahokia Mound. I've never been to the mounds. I've been to the pyramids in Egypt. I've been to the the Giza Plateau. I've been to the pyramids, some pyramids in Mexico. I've been to some pyramids in Belize. I've been to sacred sites in Ecuador and Peru, and I was in Brazil and I saw the a rock formation, an ancient natural rock formation of a sphinx head. However, I have not been to the mounds. I haven't been to the sacred sites. I've been to the Grand Canyon, but we did not make it down to the bottom to see the Egyptian artifacts. I've been to North Carolina for Bob Marley Reggae Festival. Yeah, those are the only sacred places, sacred locations that I've been to that I'm aware of. So I'm really excited about this trip. And anyone who's in the area, if you'd like to join us, once I have the travel itinerary down, I'll share it with you and you can meet us there if you choose to. So far, my dog is coming. I have a few other people that are thinking about it because it's kind of a last minute trip. So this kind of all started when I was talking to a friend of mine about my plans, and she suggested I watch this show called Ancient Apocalypse, the Americas. Good rising, great awakenings. Thank you for tuning in, Monarch Omega. Ancient Apocalypse, the Americas, produced and narrated by Graham Hancock, who I've been, following for, how long have I been following Graham Hancock? 30 years. Give or take if you have been following Graham Hancock. He's, I think he's American. He's the guy who arranged to have a camera, a digital camera, a robotic camera in the channel of the Pyramid of Giza because there was a door and he had permission to open the door. And archaeologists call him crazy. He's got all these theories. I think he makes perfectly valid points and makes a lot of sense. I'm one of his students. My earrings are on backwards. They're supposed to show the, there we go. Oops. The jaguar. Or is it leopard or cheetah? I don't know. Is it leopard or Depends on who you're talking to, if it's leopard or cheetah. Anyway, so he's got this documentary out. And the first season, he's talking about different sites around the world. The second season, he's focusing on TaMeriKan. And she told me, you got to watch it because there's one mound that has like 12 layers under it. And I was like, what? So, of course, she wasn't referring to the mounds of North America. She was referring to a site in Mexico. And I don't know if I wrote it down. I don't see, did I write it down? Well, type it. I didn't write it. Let's see if I typed it. I don't know if I have that information. Yeah, I don't think I saved that one. I'll have to get that information. But it wasn't one of the mountains. But still, he had a lot of information on the mountains. And so, yeah, so I have a picture of the Monk's Mound at Cahokia over here. I don't know if I have any images on my other phone, other device. So they're just really amazing how they're built. Just dirt packed on, piles of dirt and then carefully shaped. Some have rooms underneath. I think this Monk's Mound, the base is bigger than the Giza pyramid. So it's going to be really interesting. I have some information here that I saved. Well, these aren't facts about Cahokia Mountain. These are just mountains in general. The thing about this show, Ancient Apocalypse, is he's trying to understand what happened to the civilizations that just kind of vanished. And his theory or his research is there was a catastrophe 12,800 years ago. It was either a meteor that crashed. It was probably a meteor that crashed because there was lots of fire, massive flooding, and then I don't remember the dates of the mud flood. What are the dates of the mud flood? I believe that the mud flood is related to this theory. I can't remember. Have you heard about the mud floods? They said they were 18. Wait. See? They're not saying when they were. Oh, the mud flood hypothesis. It says 200 years ago. Okay, so I don't know what caused the mud floods, but I believe the mud floods covered up a lot of evidence that remained. And then during the World's Fair, they acted like they built these objects or these structures and then demolished them after the World's Fair. So I believe they demolished a lot of ruins. But anyway, saying so these civilizations 12,800 years ago, if you went to Mexico, Peru, the mounds, where else did he go? Machu Picchu. You're looking at the marks on the stone. What's it called? He calls it a black mat, and there's a line where there's evidence of life, and then there's a black line of demarcation, and then life begins again after that. And he said that black line represents the time when, still can't see it, it's ridiculous, the time when there was the catastrophe, the apocalypse. And he's saying that a lot of the cultures that we consider to be indigenous, they just re-inhabited these areas. They didn't, like I said in my video, the Inca didn't build Machu Picchu, the Aztecs didn't build Teotihuacan. The Native Americans did not build these mounds, and the Olmecs are the ones that developed the Mayan system and the calendar. So his theory is that all of these places, something happened around 12,000 years ago, and then new cultures developed from those. And so Cahokia is one of those locations. No matter what dates they tell you when you look them up, just like in Kemet, it's much older. So one of my favorite examples is the Serpent Mound, which is lined up with the, is it the sunrise or the sunset? Like I said, I'm just getting familiar with them. Oh, and he also refers to White Sands, New Mexico, for this extinction layer, the black mat. Where was it about the serpent mound? I guess I didn't. I know I wrote something down. Okay. Ohio Serpent Mound. He's pretty sure that it's 13,000 years or older. But the way that he knows this is the Serpent Mound summer solstice sunset, which is the jaws of the snake. It's a little bit off when you watch the sunset on the summer solstice. Like the jaws are painted this way, and the sun is like right here, because the sun, due to precession of the equinox, it rises in a different place every day, and time is moving forward 70 years. On the solstices and the equinoxes, it rises in the same place for 3 days. So people that are saying the Serpent Mound is like 2,000 or whatever years old, he's like, no, because when you do the star charts to find when the Serpent Mound perfectly aligned with the sunset on the summer solstice, it was around 13,000 years ago. And then he also points out that the people that don't believe it have allowed the trees to grow up around the part where you could see the sunset, the serpent eating the sun. But I'm going all over the place. The thing I wanted to share about Cahokia Mounds that has me a little shook, and I think I have it on here. I don't know if you can hear my dog. She's going crazy barking. Oh, no, not that one. That's a funny one. That's about the stars on Hollywood. Let's see if I can find it today. This one? No. I was mesmerized by a presentation by We Know the Truth Now. And so I have all these images here. I can't find the one I'm looking for. Yeah, if you haven't seen one of his broadcasts, We Know the Truth Now, you got to check him out. He's putting together fantastic information for us. Okay, so where did it go? Is that it? Nope. Oh my goodness. I had it saved, but then like I said, I got all these pictures from him. Now I don't know where it is. I just can't even see it. Oh my goodness. Okay. No, it's not showing up. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, well, I don't have it, so. Okay, well, the thing about Cahokia Mounds that really got my attention, and it's really unfortunate, is that on, was it Mound 72, they found remnants of human sacrifice. And that is not something that is usually seen in the Turtle Island mounds. And if you've heard me talk about this before, I don't believe the Olmec are the ones that were into these human sacrifice down in Mexico. I believe that, oh, well, thank you for the follow, Akeisha Regina Andrews. I believe, and when I say believe, it just means I don't have proof, but I know it and I feel it, and I've read about it. I'm still researching it. So when I say believe, it doesn't mean I'm believing a lie. It's just what I have observed. took me a long time to be able to say believe, because I was taught when you believe, it means you really don't know or it's a lie. And belief to me is a power or a frequency that can be used for manifesting, and then also just to describe things that you don't really know, but you're putting together the evidence. So that's when I say, I believe that the Aztecs, the ones who came later, the Aztec Maya, are the ones that started the sacrifice. It's my opinion, or what's this word? I'll just stick with opinion, that over time, when the Aboriginal original culture was taken away from the indigenous people, they lost some of the power, the spiritual power of the technology, and they began using animals for sacrifice, or humans. And so I believe that is, sure, you can get a lot of power from doing that. I just don't believe, I would not participate in that. And I don't believe that our Aboriginal ancestors did that. I think this came later, because the Mound 72 is the only place in North America that has remnants of sacrifice. And it's young women and young girls. I think it has something to do with a fertility rite. Maybe there people were dying out and they thought that this would help. I can't believe I moved over and you still can't see it. Okay, let me try moving over some more. It's really bothering me. Okay, you can see it a little better. It's because they're backwards. They're switched. So I'm confused. Yeah, so I don't believe that the Aboriginal people did that. But I'm going to go over there and see what kind of vibe I pick up from there. And again, I'm sure that the Aboriginal mound builders, the original mound builders, didn't have to do those type of things, because that's the only place that they have these bodies. Yeah, so I don't think you have to sacrifice another life in order to do these rituals or connect with the divine or feel this power. But again, that's my opinion. That is my understanding. That's my observation. This is just for entertainment purposes. I'm not saying that this is true or anything like that. It's just my observation. Let's see. So some other information I've been getting from, like I said, we know the truth now. He says that the land of Mu is buried 7,000 feet under Mexico. I don't know if you're familiar with the land of Mu. It's what people think is Lemuria. And I agree with him. I don't think that the land of Mu is buried underground. He says he's got evidence. I believe that the land of Mu was considered Mexico today. He's got photographs and articles with the structures under the water. When I first got into this subject, I read a book called The Land of Queen Mu and the Egyptian Sphinx. And it was about the Red Queen. And there was a civil war there in Palenque, Mexico. Well, all over, but in Palenque is where she was. And so she escaped and traveled all the way over to the east coast of Africa. And when she got to Egypt, the people there recognized her from their homeland, because they had come from the Yucatan as well, Mexico as well. And they recognized her as their queen. And then they showed her all the artwork on their temples that described her journey from Mexico to Kemet. If you read When Rocks Cry Out, that's where I learned about this current that whisks people from West Africa, the Mali, Mansa Musa, would put his people on a ship and it would whisk them over to the Yucatan, like, the way we just go get on the road and travel to a another state, there was this current that would take you from Africa to the Yucatan. And yeah, so that's where the land of Mu is right now. Mexico, the remnants are the Mayan culture, and then underwater. And so I'm just going to go through some of my notes here. So it was at the Camas Prairie. Oh, another mound is Camas Prairie in Idaho, which wasn't on my original list. And the place I was talking about, the black mat of extinction, is at Murray Springs. It's on the border of Mexico and the U.S. And it shows this line, black line, where this catastrophe happened. And he's showing how each one of these locations shows you the catastrophe in either their artwork or the study of the geography or the land. You can see that a catastrophe happened, and the structures that the Aboriginal cultures created that survived, then these other people came and just moved in and took it over. And that's why people think the Native Americans built the mounds, or the Inca built Machu Picchu, or the Aztec built. The Aztec one is remarkable because they only were around for 100 years before the colonizers came, and yet people still say they built all these sites in 100 years. It's impossible. He talks about the white sands of New Mexico, where they have footprints that are 23,000 years old. Kemetic history, according to the carbon dating of the Sphinx and the pyramids, is 38,790 years old. The Milky Way has a cycle of 26,000 years, which is why the Mayan calendar is lined up to that number, 13 and 20. And then their calendar has a 260-day cycle. That's their sacred calendar. I'm rambling all over the place. I'm just showing how all these things are connected. And then I really like this part, the Amazon geoglyphs of Brazil near Rio Branco. They're geometrical mounds. They're kind of similar to the North American mounds, like the Serpent Mound. They have these massive structures that are, they just were pushing up the soil, but because the Amazon grew over it, you can't really see it. Now when they started clearing the rainforest for cows and toilet paper, that's when they rediscovered them. And now they have technology where you can see the land without cutting down the trees. These are my notes from that series, Ancient Apocalypse, The Americas by Graham Hancock on Netflix. And then the Rapa Nui in Easter Island is in Chile. I mean, it's quote unquote owned by Chile. I always thought of it as Polynesian, but it's like midway between Tahiti and Chile. And Chile is the government that oversees it. So I'm sure you've seen those giant heads. They're not like the Mayan Olmec heads. I guess they are in a way, but they're more elongated. The Olmec heads are super round. The Easter Island heads are elongated. And so they have them strewn about this island, and there's people there, and the people that are there say that their ancestors did this and their ancestors did that. But Graham Hancock is like, these people didn't build these heads. And then somebody dug under one of these Easter Island heads, and the whole body is there. Like, the head is huge. The body is like 4 or 5 times as tall into the ground, carved all the way around it. So that to me was fascinating. And they have a written language. Rongorongo is their written language. And then what's really interesting is the masonry at this location of the Tipuna people is the same type of masonry found in Machu Picchu. I don't know if you've been to Machu Picchu, but the rocks are not uniform. They're all different shapes, all different sizes, perfectly fitting, like this. And he even shows a rock or a stone that has 12 angles, and different size stones are, are fitting together like this amazing puzzle. And the only other place in the world that Graham has seen this type of masonry is at this place in Rapa Nui off of the coast of Chile. And his research shows later on that maybe Easter Island at one time wasn't underwater, it was above the water, and you could walk from Rapa Nui in a straight line to Machu Picchu, that it was connected way, way back, like 13,000 years ago. And Salas y Gomez Ridge of underwater mountains leading to Machu Picchu. Like you could just walk there because they're underwater now because of this apocalypse. And he talked about Sacsayhuaman, which is in Peru. And Poverty Point does the summer solstices and equinoxes. I'm thinking about going there for the summer solstice, Poverty Point. And I talked about the Ohio Serpent Mound a little bit. So my conclusion is that these are all star nations that have been seated on Earth. The different tribes on Earth are just different star nations. That's my feeling, my observation. So I'm going to do more research because they're all aligned to celestial events, all these structures. He's like, why did they build this? Why did they do this? Why did they do this? So when I was heavy into my research, we were instructed by Linda Sheely, the author, or one of the authors, she's passed away, of the Maya Cosmos. It's backwards. I thought I took that off. Already. That's why I keep getting confused with the spiral dance medicine wheel, because it's backwards. So one of her messages was, humanity always leaves proof of knowledge of the precession of the equinox. That's what we do. We build pyramids, we build temples, we build serpent mounds, we build all kinds of structures to prove that we had this awareness that no matter how old they say things are, what do they say? They say the Bible, the Red Sea, and all that happened 6,000 years ago. Or what, the United States has been in control for like 200 years. The knowledge of the precession of the equinox is how humanity in the future will know that people have been living on Earth for a very long time. So anytime culture shows proof of this alignment, such as the Serpent Mound, it just shows it's way older than we think or what we've been told. A lot of the mounds that they date, it was 3000 BC or 250 AD or whatever. They don't mention that the people, like some of them, it took 700 years to complete, 1,000 years to complete, because the people were constantly working on it. And it doesn't mention that they're constantly working on it, maintaining it, and they don't know how old it is because they were adding quote unquote new dirt. Right, so there was probably already a structure there, and they're just constantly replenishing it. So they're like the Serpent Mound shows proof of precession of the equinox because the mound is built for an event that was 13,000 years ago. Maybe it was 39,000 years ago. Another whole cycle of the galactic cycle. Yeah, I'm getting excited here. Okay. So another thing that I learned from, I thought I had more notes in this. I don't know where my notes went. Thing that I learned from, I think I have one on the mounds, but anyway, from We Know the Truth Now, is that he has evidence, he has receipts showing that in Kemet, the Kush people are aboriginal TaMeriKans that went over there. Like I said, there was a civil war here on Turtle Island or TaMeriKan, and some people went over to Kemet to establish a memorial to the magnificent culture of TaMeriKan. And there's some people who say, why do you believe this? Why do you believe it? Well, I've been studying it for 40 years. That's why I believe it and know certain things. Like I said, my whole library was lost when I moved from California to Chicago, so I don't have all of my receipts right now. But he says that the word for corn is Kush, Kesh, or Kish. And the Kushites or the Nubians actually traveled, they took that current and went all the way, I guess as far away as they could from TaMeriKan to set up this memorial. So it's just fascinating to me. Oh, and then he has, there's a Temple Mayor in Mexico with 2 vultures on the front outside of the structure. And in the Kemetic carvings, he found reference to a ceremony taking place in front of a temple with 2 vultures. And there's no temple like that in Kemet. However, at the Temple Mayor, there is a temple with 2 vultures out front. And the vultures represent, I think the records are on my other phone. That's why they're not showing up here. The vultures, of course, are representing Goddess Ma'at. And then he says that the constellation Deneb is Goddess Nut. So I'm learning some interesting facts from studying with We Know the Truth Now. So if you're interested in this type of information, check out his work. Over here, we're focusing on the astronomy and the cosmology more so than the politics or, proving who was first. I know that's a very popular subject right now, especially when you're talking about plants and trees. People refer to Africa as the homeland, but I don't remember the exact numbers. Like 80% of the plants and the foods that people talk about in Africa, they actually originated over here. People like the Kush Nubians brought the seeds and brought the plants over to Africa. There's more rivers here in North, Central, and South America than there is in Africa. Something like 3,000 rivers here and only 60 rivers there. On the documentary from Ancient Apocalypse, he's pointing out evidence that the Amazon rainforest was cultivated by humans. It didn't just appear that our ancestors, the shamans and priests and priestesses, planted those plants in certain areas, medicinal plants. They talked about the ayahuasca medicine. I didn't realize this is a combination of 2 plants, not just one. And I don't have the names written down, but when you have them individually, nothing happens. But when you combine them, that's when you have the super magical, mystical healing power of ayahuasca, and that the ancestors planted them together so it would be easy to find. So that's been really incredible to me, just having that type of awareness. I think last week I talked about how in the Grand Canyon, or when you see different buttes, rock formation, those are actually tree stumps that were cut down, big, giant, majestic trees that when the greedy people came, or people that didn't want us to know, they cut them down and just left the stumps. And then over time, when the apocalypse, they just look like interesting structures. They were actually remnants, and that the Grand Canyon wasn't just caused by erosion after the apocalypse, but it was caused by greedy people mining there. And that's what left those fascinating shapes and structures. So it's just another way of looking at history and another way of looking at life. And hopefully it provides inspiration to live your life in a different way. It certainly did for me when I started living by the medicine wheel calendar and the Sirius calendar rather than the calendars and religions of Western imperialism. It changed my life. It changed my mind. It's changed my body, I guess, in some ways. And I'm just compelled to continue to research this and share the information with you. Okay, yeah. So I don't know where the rest of my notes are. I hope I find them soon. So for those of you that are on the call still, do you have any questions? I see some people are still Rising Truth. Hello, Rising Truth. Would you like to join me in the conversation? I think I've seen you before. Anyone have any comments they want to add to the conversation on the mounds? Anyone thinking of joining me in February? Let me see if I can find February 1st. She has any information in here on the raising of the tree because she's where I learned about it. Let's see. And if you missed the live stream last night, you can check it out on my Kimatone's YouTube channel for the Wolf Full Moon in the Sacred Hoop. I think we had a lovely session. The moon will still be full tonight, although it will no longer be within the Sacred Hoop. It will have moved on to Cancer. But you can still partake of the good vibrations. The full moon energy stays with us for 2 weeks until the new moon. So let's see if they have anything on this in this book. No, she doesn't have anything on that. It's interesting. So what about tree? Serpent. I have a lot. I have my work cut out for me, that's for sure. It's just vast. Let me see if she has anything. I don't know if you can hear my dog downstairs, the wolf of the wolf moon. She's not happy. TR. Nope, I don't see anything on the tree. Tree crosses, tree scepter. Yeah, when you see the foliated cross of the Maya, that represents the image where the moon, where the Milky Way crosses the moon. Oh gosh, crosses the path of the sun, crosses the ecliptic. No, I don't see one. Oh, and that's another thing. I found the book Maya Cosmos on the internet as a PDF. So in the future, when I want to make a reference, well, here's an image. It's kind of small. When I want to make a reference, it'll be easier. I'm just not set up for that right now. This is an image of the foliated cross representing the Milky Way crossing the sun. The path of the sun has a giant sun in the center. Let's see here. So I'm going to get a little bit more organized here. I'm getting really excited about it, about making this trip. Let's see if they, I just can't believe they didn't have anything on the raising of the tree here, though. 77. Nope, I don't see it. Nope, I don't see it. The thing about the Milky Way is when the body dies, the soul travels along the tree to eternity. Like, same with in Kemet. You travel along the tree and you end up in the netherworld. All right, well, that's what I wanted to share about the mounds today. Just a little update about the trip and the information I learned about Cahokia, that there's a site of sacrifice, the only one in North America. And I'll be particularly interested in checking that out. And heading out there. It's either January 31st, 30th, or the 31st. I think the weather is usually around 57 degrees. Extremes are like the 80s or 40s, so it won't be too cold. And we're going to get a little cabin. I'd like to spend some time by the Cahokia River. The Mississippi River is not too far from there. So I'd like to go there. My ancestors' records got taken to Indiana when my cousin died. So I'm going to go pick them up. And if we have time, I would love to go to St. Louis because my ancestors spent time there. So that's the plan for February 1st. And my intention is to visit a different mound for each one of the solstices, equinoxes, and mid-seasons. I'm not going to try to go to each one in a row. I'm going to stick to the spiral dance medicine wheel and just offer ceremonies at the different sacred moments of alignment with the Milky Way, because that's what the seasons represent. They represent when we line up with the axis of the Milky Way. It's a reset. People get all excited about the new year. It's like we have a new reset every 3 months, actually every month and a half because of the mid-seasons. And it's just easier for me to follow the galaxy than it is to follow the moon. So, yeah. How are we doing? Okay. So again, that's what I had to share about the mounds and TaMeriKan today. If anyone has any comments or questions. Oh, one more thing about the full moon. Like on my little calendar notice, it says tomorrow Mars attacks. It's because Mars will be the closest to the Earth it's been, and couldn't find out how long. And then yesterday the comment was the moon devours Mars because they're so close. I guess the Mars is going to stay in Gemini. The moon's going to move on to Cancer. And so the Earth and Mars will be really close. And then during the gigantic, it's not a conjunction, alignment from the 21st to the 25th with 6 planets, we're able to see them all at night in one night. Well, 4 of them you can see with the naked eye. 2 of them you'll need telescopes. So we'll be back for that. So that's what I had to share with you today. Check out the replay of the full moon on my YouTube channel. Thank you for liking the live. If you're just coming into this broadcast, you can go to the my Rita Chia Met music channel on YouTube for the replay. Some housekeeping. I've heard or I've read or seen videos that Trump has given TikTok a 270-day extension. And we feel this is because so many of us downloaded the Red Note app, which is a Chinese app that is similar to TikTok. Some purists will say that is not true. Red Note is like Pinterest and Douyin is like TikTok, but Douyin is mostly for children. So we're over at Red Note. I set up my account there just in case TikTok goes out on the 19th. But my understanding is that it will not. However, I think I'm going to keep my TikTok accounts the way it is, and then use the Red Note for just having fun. Because on TikTok, I'm trying to stay in line with my work, my research, and every now and then I have a little fun. So I'm going to maybe split them up that way. I like the vibe on Red Note. Even though I didn't know Mandarin, I was meeting people from China and I had a little translator. I could translate what they were saying. So I really liked it. The CEO has been really welcoming. He's come on and told us how to put translators on our phones and on our apps and all these fun things. And then also the CEO for TikTok is also really awesome and cool personality. So the main thing is we're not going back to Zuckerberg land. We're not going back to Meta or Instagram. I've deleted my apps on my phone. I haven't deleted my accounts there because they are useful for business. But as far as like day-to-day activities, I'm not like scrolling on there or engaging on there. I'm just engaging on TikTok and YouTube for now. And since I'm no longer trying to get my TikTok shop together, I'm going to get my Pinterest shop together. My website is back up, so I'll be posting from there about my products mostly. And so at this point, we have a transition to the next phase of this TaMeriKan Tuesday program. And if anyone on here is interested in the Akuseneb Natarian reflective movement meditation yoga, Natarian yoga practice, you can make a small donation, a large donation, and that will enable me to have a offering of this yoga class. So, been fortunate in the past. People like Constance have made donations, so we can keep it going. This is a presentation of Asmadaji Temple, Divine Light Healing and Sweet Sounds. And there we go. Oh, wait. What are you doing? Oh, I didn't open it all the way. Well, we could do this. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So if anyone is interested in having yoga class, consider making a small donation or a large donation to Asmadaji Temple, Divine Light Healing and Sweet Sounds. That's how I'm doing it now. The first half is just conversation or dialogue. And then the second half is an offering. On Tuesdays, we have an offering of the yoga. On Wednesdays, we have the offering of sound healing. And on Thursdays, we have the offering of devotion. Good rising, great awakenings, farmer. Rahu Bhaat. Ooh, I don't know that expression. Thank you. Teach me something. Can you tell me the meaning of Rahu Bhaat? Thank you. I would love that. Yeah, so I'll just be on here for a little bit longer to see if anyone is interested in sponsoring a session of Akuseneb, reflective movement meditation practice. It's based on Tef Sima Pout Netaru. Oh, it means greetings. Oh, okay. I never knew that. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I have been learning a lot from the Nuwabian teachings. These are Natarian teachings. I say Natarian because so many ancient Aboriginal, indigenous cultures, nations, and tribes follow the Netters based on their location. If we just say Kemet, we're always putting up Kemet, ancient African Egypt, and kind of making it superior to the other traditions, some which came before Kemet, some which came after. So I just say Natarian because we follow the Neteru. For instance, in the Olmec Mayan tradition, the green maize god, the corn god, refers to, yes, exactly, Tamari. Well, we say Tamarian or TaMeriKan, TaMeriKan, because it rhymes with American. But yes, Tamari. That's what we're all about here. And so my research is going back to the Aboriginal cultures of Tamerica or Tamaria, such as the Olmec, the Quechua, and the mound builders, and getting into the glyphs. I haven't really gotten into the glyphs yet. Getting into the glyphs and seeing the correspondences between the cosmic forces of nature from Kemet in Africa and the cosmic forces of nature from TaMeriKan, or Tameri, as you say. It's also known as Chi Amaru in Mexico or Amaru in Peru. So that's why we have these words that are very similar and referring to the same thing. There was one person I got into it with who's very rude and ignorant, and he's saying that our belief in Tameri is, started cursing and degrading this culture, and he just wants to know, why do we believe this? Why do we feel this way? And it's because there's so much evidence. Like I was saying before, the mud floods, they say that the culture that was here before the mud floods, they call it Tartarian. They won't call it Tamerian or TaMeriKan. They call it Tartarian, Tartari. Like, it's like so ridiculous. Like here we have the building, like the Museum of Science and Industry, that they said they put it together for the World's Fair. They had other ones put together and they took those down. They said they built those in 6 months for the World's Fair. There's no way they built that building in 6 months with all the marble and granite and limestone and the gold on the railings. There's no way you could build that building in 2025. There's just no way. So this is all very intriguing to me. It's my current obsession, these mounds, because it's my belief that once I'm able to make the correspondences between Kemet and these Aboriginal cultures through the cosmology and the astronomy, the solstices, equinoxes, the pyramids, Sirius, that we'll be able to activate that spirituality again here. Not just studying the wars, not just studying the leaders, not just studying the chiefs, not just studying the dates. Well, this culture was here, and then this culture came, and this culture here, and the Native Americans came, and they say that it's their culture, and they're mad at us because we're saying that, it's our culture. I don't really want to spend too much time on that, although it's important to me. I want to focus on the spirituality and the astronomy and the cosmology. So the Aku Sanab reflective movement meditation system is based on the Netaru. It's a level 2 yoga class. It's level 2 Kemetic yoga or Egyptian yoga, meaning you need to have already studied this yoga system, or at least a basic understanding of the yoga postures. It has the same postures as your regular hatha yoga class, although these postures, I don't know if I have it on here. I don't know. It would take a minute. I could do it on TikTok, YouTube though. So we could go to another. No, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. I wanted to show some examples. Oh, that's the book. Okay. I want the slideshow. I'm going to go to the other one. Sorry. Slideshow. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, here's the slideshow. So the postures that Seba Ma has chosen for the system are based on glyphs or stone, engravings or stone carvings. And so the idea is, when we're going through these movements, because they're movements, not postures, we are going through the movements of creation. We're identifying with the different gods and goddesses in the process of creation. So, for example, in this slide, which you can't see TikTok, it is the movement of Aset when she's embracing Asar. Or we have my favorite one is Selket. There's a yoga posture for the scorpion, Zerkat. Um, Cat. I've mastered the power to inflict pain upon the ego. I'm ready to strike when the fetters are set appear. My knowledge is protection and keep the higher self safe and secure while the ego feels myself sting continuously. That's one of my favorite ones because it helped me learn more about dealing with my ego, which I feel this full moon is about because the moon is devouring Mars. So the moon, which is our personality, is conquering the ego. Our royal personality is conquering the ego. That's what I feel this alignment of the moon is about right now. So when I go through the yoga system or the movements of the gods and goddesses, when I do it with consistency, I feel myself manifesting. I feel the enlightened lifestyle that I'm striving to manifest, or is manifesting through me. It gets stronger because you're moving through the same process of creation that Kepri did with creation. So it's a really powerful system. And on Wednesdays, like I said, on Tuesdays after the TaMeriKan Tuesday discussion, we have the Akusaneb offering from Asmataji Temple, and we just need one person to make a donation or a gift offering, and we will move the studio over and set it up for the yoga class. And if not, I'll just do it privately. It's really awkward for me to ask for donations, and I'm just doing my best. But I'm no longer able to just give all the offerings for no reciprocity, which is the principle of Ma'at. There has to be reciprocity in life. And so this is my effort to receive reciprocity for sharing the yoga system. If you are in the Chicago area, on Fridays from 3 until 5, we have the live class, also by donation. But on Tuesdays at around what time? 9:30 or so, which it is right now, we start the online session. So it's 9:30 and have yet to receive. So how do you give the donation? You go to my Cash App, which is Amet El Ma'at, or PayPal and Venmo. Light being wellness. Yeah, so that would help if I told you how to make a donation. Yeah, so if you'd like to make a donation to the temple, you go to Cash App Amet El Ma'at. And if you make a donation, we'll have the Akusanev Reflective Movement Meditation experience. If not, I will send it out. Or Venmo, PayPal at Lightning. All right. So going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, so we will not have the yoga class today. I'll just do this session on my own. I'll miss you. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Central for the Wellness Wednesday presentation where we talk about astronomy, astrology, which we did a little bit today. Tomorrow we'll be talking more about the upcoming alignment. We talk about herbs, we talk about flower essences, anything dealing with wellness. And then if someone is able to make a donation tomorrow, we'll have another Cosmic Chimes and Chanting session. And so that's it for today. If you're just tuning in on YouTube, on TikTok, you can find the replay on my YouTube music channel. So I hope you had a wonderful wolf full moon, and I will see you next time. Dua Hatep. Dua Hatep. Thanks for being